Hey guys, Bug Out Beck. So on today's Fact versus Film, what I'm going to be talking about is the idea that you can use, alcohol, pure alcohol, liquor, whatever you style, as a fuel source to, say, power a vehicle. There's been some movies that have shown this. There's been ideology out there where people say that they keep, X amount of supply of alcohol on hand, so if they need to use it as a fuel source, they can. So going into this, number one, I will say that obviously alcohol, especially depending on its flash point or the alcohol content, can definitely be flammable. So there are times that the fumes can definitely be used to ignite a spark. And when you're talking about using it to power a vehicle, however, we need to look into a little bit more physics, would it be? Now when we're talking about using alcohol as a fuel, we're going to be talking about higher proofs. You're talking about like 170, 175, 190, those kind of proofs. The reason being is because that's essentially going to be ethanol. Now, therein lies the other issue. The majority of vehicles out there aren't going to be able to run off of ethanol or know how to actually use mostly like 95% ethanol. If you happen to stumble across or own a race car style vehicle or some kind of an engine that uses ethanol, then that's fantastic. So here's what we want to think about when we're talking about trying to use alcohol as fuel. If you have, say, a carburetor, the sole purpose of a carburetor, so on older style vehicles, is going to be to mix air and fuel at a certain level that they work together in the combustion to make your vehicle go. When you're putting alcohol, since alcohol burns a lot quicker, a lot hotter, it's not going to be the same consistency as, say, gasoline. This is why a lot of older vehicles also aren't going to typically use ethanol. It's just, it doesn't work well with the carburetor style system. Now, go a little bit newer, say go into the mid to late 90s, or essentially your fuel injected vehicle. Now with a fuel injected vehicle, you have the fuel pumped through a tiny little nozzle at a high pressure, and that's essentially what's making your combustion, making your vehicle go. So with a fuel injected, you have a little bit better of a chance to be able to use pure alcohol. Again, we're talking about pretty much ethanol. You have a little bit better of a chance of that working. The issue is, again, the temperature that it burns. The fact that it's going to sputter, stall, it's not going to be a smooth ride, and you're talking about probably barely getting, I can't even imagine how low miles per gallon would be on a fuel injected. Could it work? Yes, it could work temporarily. It's not going to be a fuel source if you're trying to get miles across terrain. Now, your best option if you're going to be trying to use alcohol as a fuel source is going to be something with flex fuel or something that has a newer style vehicle. You're talking about your late 2000s that have these high-tech computers that can recognize alternative fuels. Because what that's going to do is it will recognize this is essentially ethanol. Or if you have a vehicle that's designed to take ethanol, you can actually get a decent amount of miles on a newer vehicle that's going to be able to know how to handle that ethanol. Again though, because of the way that the alcohol is going to burn, you're talking about your miles to the gallon probably cut in half, if not more than that. But you could actually, with a newer style vehicle or a vehicle that uses ethanol or has a super smart computer, it is possible to be able to get a decent amount of miles on that. Again, the problem lies the fact that the vehicle is not designed to use pure alcohol, to use, essentially this ethanol as its main fuel source as compared to gasoline, which burns completely differently. So you could have issues later on down the line. So basically the way I'm saying is with the myth that could it work? Yes. Again, you're talking about your best bet is going to be using a newer style vehicle that it has the type of engine that can process that. Is it going to be a good idea for like a bug out getaway? Probably not. Alright guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Again, check me out later on for some of my newer videos and for the next Fact versus Film. And as always, be prepared.